All right, guys, welcome back to the Go&FUN Esports Championships here on gamers.com.mt. We are about to get into our final game between Gamers with Attitude and the Raving Raptors, one of the favorites that have been here for quite some time. As we are getting into the bans, we've seen the Vladimir being banned always. Finally, we're seeing a team ban that, as well as the Zach being taken off the table by Gamers with Attitude, and then the Lee Sin by Raving Raptors.
Yeah, Raving Raptors, a well-liked team, but at the same time, in the Malta Cyber Series, they did disappoint. They got beaten out by their sister team and didn't actually top in their group. So definitely a little bit of redemption here as we get into a new tournament first week on in. And Gamers with Attitude, they're just coming off of a very close game victory against Ascension. And maybe they can ride that sort of momentum here into trying to topple these Raving Raptors crew.
Yeah, and they did ban away Mechanic's Vayne, definitely giving a lot of respect to that player, as well as banning away the Lulu. Such a strong pick. Finally, we're going to see some bans that are very well deserved for that champion. But then we also have to look at Raving Raptors banning away some of the more OP champions, such as that Vladimir and the Graves.
But not all the OP champions. A magical voice because Camille is once again available. It's so odd today to see it not banned at all and then not picked too. And of course right here the Raving Raptors want to lock that one in right away because there are not many matchups that champion can lose.
Right, the only ones really being are going to be the Poppy. Poppy definitely does a great job at shutting down Camille early, but then as the game progresses on later, Camille does start to come online and prove that she can just shred right through the tanks, as we do see Shen being hovered, which would be a decent pickup. But talk about how Camille comes on later in the game, can just start destroying that Shen pick.
I mean, the Shen, even in that early to mid game too, can just be so ridiculous. And I don't know, we've seen Camille versus Shen before. Maybe in those early levels things can happen, but the Nautilus definitely will try to shove this Camille in under the turret early on. But then later in the game, he's going to have to group up because there is no chance he'll actually be able to match this Camille in a 1 versus 1 in a side lane.
Very true, but we have I don't know if it's going to be Shungi or if he's going to trade lanes. It kind of looks like he might be, as he's holding that smite right now, but picked up the Syndra. He played very well on that Vladimir before, but now with the Syndra being picked up, kind of hints to me that there might be a swapping of the guard.
I don't know if we're actually going to see a lane swap coming through. That seems fairly odd to Chongi. Yeah, he's got smite. He's also got cleanse, so he's literally just trolling us right now. There's no champion ever in the world of Summoner's Rift that would take both of those combined.
Very
At least
true.
not that I can think of. Ever. None of them.
I was trying to think of one, but I honestly couldn't even give an answer to that. And you know me, I can pull
I know,
anything out.
you play it all, so when I want something unconventional, I come to you first. Unconventional would also be not locking in 2 champions for your team, unless that's just a spectator bug for me.
I think it is a spectator bug because I have the Gragas and the Karma being locked in for the side of Raving Raptors Academy, which is very unfortunate. Gotta love new spectator, how it gives these lovely bugs. But
All right, wait, you're gonna have to give me those champions again. I'm also running the stream, guys, so I'll try and just pop those in. I'm just getting unknown error over and over again. So this is super tragic. If you could repeat for me one more time what those champions were.
Yeah, Gruntless Gary locked in the Gragas, as we have Dexalute locking in that Karma. Then on the flip side, we see that Gamers with the Attitude, they're hovering the Braum and the Xin Zhao pick. We saw that banned away from Rebinald earlier, and now it will be locked in, as well as that Braum.
This is OP production value right here. Sorry about this, guys. Braum and the Gragas, did you say, or?
From the side of Raving Raptors, they have the Gragas and Karma. On
Okay,
the
and other side?
Gamers with Attitude, the Braum and the Xin Zhao.
Xin Zhao. We actually saw that banned against them earlier in the day.
Yeah, so Rebinald happy to get his hands on that. Seems that Raving Raptors want to test his mettle, see exactly how strong he's going to be on that champion.
Yeah, again, very sorry that this isn't working. No way to actually make this work because we can't leave pick ban and then get back on in for it. So for now, you're stuck with this incredible production value of having champion names popped up on your screen. Of course, the Camille and Nautilus were also locked in earlier on.
Right.
Yeah.
And now You get to see that an Ezreal and Ziggs being picked up. Ziggs going to be in the hands of Donut Dominator. If we recall to last tournament, he loves that champion. Definitely performs amazingly on that. As we do see that, I think it's Dexalute who's their AD carry, or am I wrong? Did they do some?
Dexalute would be their AD carry, yep.
Yes, because I'm just trying to watch the role swaps, as it does seem that Vortex is holding on to that Gragas with Smite. So I'm actually imagining he's going to be the jungle, and we're going to actually see Dexalute being the support on the Karma, with Mechanics going to be the AD carry on the Ezreal. Then on the flip side, we see that Wings is going to be, again, the support, picking up that Braum. Chungi in the mid lane on that Syndra. Please no gank top lane. Nautilus. Revenald on that Xin Zhao, and Asu gonna pick up that Lucian.
Alright, so again on the Raving Raptor side, so far I've got Camille, Gragas, Karma, Ziggs, and what would be the fifth?
The fifth is Camille.
I already got Camille.
Okay, so it's Gragas for Vortex, Camille for Gruntless Gary, Karma for Dexalute, Ezreal for Mechanics, and Ziggs for Donut Dominator.
Gotcha, and then over on the other side, the final lock-in would have been?
The final lock-in was Lucian for
Lucian. Alright, I've got them all. If you're watching the stream right now, guys, it looks beautiful, and I hope you all appreciate my on-the-fly editing.
Yes, I'm looking at that right now. That is absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you.
10 out of 10. I would totally approve, even though you have them in the wrong spots.
See, now this is going to be awkward because somehow I'm going to have to end up spectating. So you're going to have to let me know when you actually do get into the match. Otherwise, I can just try and hop on and spectate you. It may be a struggle, though. I think my client has actually disconnected. So actually, for just a moment, guys, we're going to toss it over to some music while we figure out these technical issues. You can see the teams right here. We'll be back in hopefully just a moment.
All right, guys, sorry about the delay. We've gotten everything back on schedule, so we will be able to bring you some more fun times here at gamers.com.mt. And I'm going to give a quick little shout out to our sponsors since this is the last game of the night. We have GO&FUN Energy Drink, the name of the tournament itself. We have the Point Shopping Mall, Costa Coffee, Smart Car Malta, Hugo's Burgers, Urban Jungle, JobsInMalta.com, The Powerhouse, Gadgets, 5FM. Sorry if I had to run through that really fast as we are loading up.
The rap god, magical voice.
About to get into the game. So guys, let's find out who's going to win between the Raving Raptors and Gamers with Attitude.
Hey, and you know what? That's one way to get through the spectator delay. It's all good. We finally actually can see the champion portraits. Yes, IM level production, we understand, but at least we're matching the industry standard for all amateur leagues that are not run by Riot across the globe.
We're even meeting an industry standard of Riot, which is amazing.
How do you figure?
I had to poke a little fun because we've seen a lot of the problems that come from the lovely EU LCS, especially if you're a Giants fan, you know what I'm talking about. But anyways, we are getting into the game. So instead of making fun of Riot, let's make fun of some players as we see Raving Raptors all grouped up, not able to find anything.
Nope, nothing at all. It's a little bit sad. We've had a couple of those players. They stack up as 5, and then nothing actually winds up happening. You know what champion I'm excited to see, though? It's this Xin Zhao. I don't know what to expect. All I know is that it can either be really, really good, or it can be really, really bad. He's gonna build damage, he's gonna try to carry out of the jungle, and he's either gonna succeed massively or flop on his face.
You know one of my favorite things to do with Xin Zhao?
What's that?
I like to play AP support Xin Zhao. Do you know why I like to play AP support?
Please, tell me.
Because if the game doesn't end by 30 minutes, which normally it does because you lose, but if it doesn't, then you can just solo towers and win the game for your team at that point. I love to kill Ender with my amazing champion pool.
It's not even a pool. That's like the kiddie pool. Like, it might look like it's okay from the outside, but you get in and all of a sudden there's not a whole lot of water in it.
You know what? That's how everyone says in my ranked games too. So, I suppose that is fair. That's a fair assessment. But instead of making fun of my interesting champion selections, let us check out how the game's going right now. As we do see some pushes coming in from the bot lane, we do see the Lucian Braum combo, a very strong combo because it can get the concussive blows a lot faster out of that Braum onto mechanics, and it's guaranteed stun if they do land it.
Yeah, it's still going to be hard to all in on Karma Ezreal. If there's any abilities being thrown Mechanics' way, he's just going to be hopping on out. Try to make sure that he's under no pressure.
Yeah, but pressure coming on to please no ganks. Sorry,
wow.
Please no ganks, but you're going to get ganked. First blood going over to Vortex.
And really good usage of the Gragas right there. A lot of players would probably use the flash just to make sure they land the body slam right there. But Vortex waited. He knew that he was just barely going to clip the side of Nautilus's massive actual character model and picks up the first blood.
Plus, he held on to that just in case we actually saw flash coming in from the Nautilus, but now we see this engage in the bot lane, the attempted gank coming in from Revenald, but that is the biggest flaw with Xin Zhao, is he has a very hard time of ganking into lanes, but now we see in the mid lane the gank coming in from Vortex, but a good use of the Scatter of the Weak gonna make it so that Vortex's gank is mitigated by Chungi.
Right, might actually be caught out or spotted out by Revenald, perhaps going for the 2 versus 2 here, but they're underneath the tower. Vortex should be okay, but that'll lose him a lot of pressure and could potentially be engaged upon by Revenald if he does try to clear his jungle here.
Yeah, there is that ward right on the chicken, so looks like Vortex is debating whether he wants to go for those, and Revenald in the area has that opportunity to go in on him, but instead wanting to go on Donut Dominator. They got that Scatter of the Weak, have a lot of damage. That was the good use of the Satchel Charge flash coming out of Ziggs. Now Donut Dominator, he wanted to turn that back onto Revenald, but didn't have the confidence or the health in order to do it.
Right, Rebenold can't stick underneath that turret because Donut Dominator still has the exhaust. It's a very, very good tool at stopping potential engagements right there. But now with bottom lane shoving in, we know Vortex is super aggressive. He still has the flash up if he so desires, so he could potentially make his way down there and try to dodge out the ward with a blast cone.
That does seem like that's what he's going to do. There is still that ward in that pixel bush, so he will be able to be spotted out pretty well. But instead, Vortex is just going to steal away some of the jungle of Rebenold to try to see if he can actually get Vision, actually get almost not to finish off the Gromp.
Yeah, a little bit odd right there. It's because the Scryer's Bloom was actually spotted out by minions in that bottom lane. That's why you saw all those red danger pings on the bottom lane. They thought that there actually was going to be a gank attempt, and ends up just being a little bit of wasted time for information, knowing that that bottom half of the map still had at least one camp up and available.
Exactly. And now we've seen a couple backs already happening across the map. We see Gruntless Gary getting himself some long swords. Going to be matched up by only one cloth armor picked up by Please No Ganks, despite the fact that they are very even in CS.
Yeah, it's the assist from Gruntless Gary on the first blood that really would have given him that slight extra oomph there to get himself an extra long sword. It is nice, though, that Please No Ganks didn't actually burn his flash in that initial gank. Of course, losing up the first blood, not going to be optimal ever, but holding onto his flash means that it's still going to be difficult for Vortex to repeat into that lane.
Yeah, very true. And talking about Vortex, we do see that he's got himself that Chilling Smite going on the Gragas. That actually is something that I find very peculiar. Normally, you do see the Tracker's Knife picked up, so just get a little bit extra vision, and he is going to go for that Luden's Echo. That one not being too surprising.
I mean, I really just don't think there's a reason to ever go Chilling Smite over the Warding Smite or over the Challenging Smite, unless the only champion I could see it would be Rek'Sai, with the top lane in trouble.
Yeah, we see Gruntless Gary. He went a little too far, having to flash out of that one. You go sweep and heal up a little bit, but they did get the flash out of Gruntless Gary.
I think Rebenold could have easily followed up with a flash. One more auto would have been the knockup. That would have easily been the kill. Nautilus also with the level 6 just turning up there could have made a difference. But now he's going to find Gragas inside his own jungle on the red.
Yeah, he is trying to steal that away, but Vortex is going to now spot him out, get a lot of damage back.
Oh, baby!
The Smite being used by Rebenold just to get some health back, and Vortex is going to try to see if he can spot him out, as we see Please No Gank just pathing down there, going to spot out Vortex, and Rebenold going right back on to that blue buff, red buff, but he is on a ward, so he's taken very low, and now Vortex might be able to collapse onto him.
Yeah, I mean, Vortex, Gruntless Gary, everyone is making their way on over there, so just drops a nice little control ward to try and keep his jungle safe. It'll be immediately cleared up. He will lose the red buff, but there is potential for him to try and steal away the one on the left-hand side of the map.
But here comes Chungi trying to see if they can stop Vortex having to flash out of there. Here comes the Mega Inferno.
Oh, man!
Not enough with that satchel. They get the kill onto Donut Dominator.
Nice little play right there. And even now, you've got Please No Ganks, who's caught between 3 members of the enemy team. He's probably going to have to flash out.
Yeah, got to be really careful, taking very low. Donut Dominator just going to go for the
oh, no.
But that is Gruntless Gary with that hookshot. The ultimatum being laid down. And that is the depth charge onto Vortex, but he is caught. He is going to be down. Gruntless Gary picking himself up the kill.
Yeah, Please No Ganks didn't flash out. He flashed straight into the face of a level 6 Camille. That is not what you want to have happen. And this early game is slowly unraveling here for the side of Gamers with Attitude. 3 kills down. That's 2,000 gold almost in favor of the Raving Raptors, and these lanes continue to aggress onto some of the weaker members of GWA.
Yeah, Raving Raptors are a team that we did see last time we had our championship series, and
the Multi-Cyber series.
Yeah, the Multi-Cyber series. They did perform admirably. They got second place in the series, going second to their academy squad, but they definitely show that they are a team not to be trifled with, though there is going to be the attempted gank onto Mechanics right now. He has a concussive blow stacked up, but Rebenold does not want to go for that tower dive.
Yeah, very difficult. Since the gank a while ago, Karma has the flash up. No other summoner spells were burnt. Not that would have necessarily mattered in a gank right about now. But you gotta wonder what the power is, and Chungi in trouble.
Yeah, Chungi was in trouble, but the explosive cast did not knock him under the tower, so he will be safe, not even having to worry about that gank coming in from the side of Vortex.
Right, now he's just down in ultimate. Vortex also just basically has no mana, so it's going to be hard for him to get a gank off anytime soon. But there was not actually the red buff steal by Rebinal. He didn't try to return the favor by taking away that buff down the bottom half of the map. So Vortex will have that up. It'll be recharged so that when he does finally get his recall off, that uptime of the buff that really does empower all of your ganks will be up for quite some time.
A very interesting build coming in from the side of Rebinal as well. We see 3 daggers picked up. Hasn't gone to complete that Blood Razor yet. So, very, I think, peculiar start coming in from this Xin Zhao.
Well, I really just think it comes down to how much gold he actually recalled on. Clearly, he's going into the Blood Razor. If he wanted to upgrade the 2 daggers into a recurve build, that would be 400 gold.
Yeah, great exhaust coming in from Donut Dominator to stop the damage coming in from Chungi, so he was not able to pick up that kill.
Man, Chungi's trying. He carried almost 1v9 the last game these guys played today. This time round, he's trying to make plays happen. He's bullying around Donut Dominator, but it's just not working because there's always a friend there. Vortex, ever present, waiting in the wings, and Chungi just happened to be caught up with a nice body slam flash underneath the enemy tower.
And that's the power of the Gragas, why a lot of pros love that champion. Sure, he fell off the meta for quite some time due to the changes to his ultimate, but he could never beat that power of the flash body slam.
Yeah, it seems like just after a certain point, people forget how good the champion felt before nerfs like that, similar to maybe some Nidalee that we're still seeing around even after losing a lot of the auto attack resets within her kit. And now they're just like, hey, this champion's actually still pretty good. We're tanky, we got engaged, we're big playmakers. Now we can't throw out a Q after we land our body slam flash. We want to drop down the ulti, but there's still definitely ways to make the champion work, and Vortex is showing us just how to do that.
Exactly, and he's doing a great job with that. That's why we have to really look at this lineup coming in from Raving Raptors. It is 12 minutes into the game. Sure, they have 4 kills and 2,000 gold, but they should be able to continue the snowball going as long as they keep playing it slowly and methodically, winning their lanes, not having to worry about falling behind anywhere.
Right, they've got pretty strong lanes across the board. I say mid lane is where they are weakest. It's also coincidentally where the most of their kills are. 2 kills onto Donut Dominator. And we know the late game Ziggs is absolutely absurd. He's surviving this laning phase against the aggressive Syndra, and that's exactly what he needs to do. So as long as he maintains this advantage that he has, doesn't give anything up to the Syndra, he's going to be doing just fine.
Yeah, but we do see Gruntless Gary going for a little bit of fighting on the please no ganks. He takes a lot of damage in return. Gotta be careful on that Camille. You don't have any lifesteal just yet on that kit. Just having the Tiamat and the Sheen.
Oh, in the bot lane though.
We do see the Fissure coming in as well as the Culling, but not able to lock down Mechanics or Dexalute. Makes it so that Revenant, with his 3rd time into that bot lane, still yet to find anything on the Xin Zhao.
Yeah, he's still hanging around, even knowing Braum doesn't have ulti, he's going in.
Yep.
And going out.
Yeah, we might have seen that Mechanics and Dexalute were being a little too aggressive, and maybe the side of gamers with attitude respecting that there was still the possibility that Vortex was nearby, since they did not see him on the map. Granted, they don't really have that creative vision.
Holy cow.
That was a great explosive cast onto Wings. He's caught out. He's going to go down. Dexalute picks up the kill. Now, H2 taking a lot of damage, having to flash back to his tower. And then the top lane, we see a lot of action continuing to roll around in every single lane.
And what we know from the group stages here, it teaches you how to close out games. Rebinold 1v3.
Yeah, he went in really hard. That's the exhaust being used. We did see Vortex in the back line getting the kill onto Lucian. Challenging Smite going to keep him slowed down so the Xin Zhao can't keep going in. Now Dexalute taking up this tower for his team, letting it so that they can just easily walk away. Now Rebinold going in again. He's going to fall. Mechanics picking up the kill.
That is just not gonna work. They decided not to dive you. Take no as an answer. Oh man, it's just not looking too hot right here. We were wondering how this Xin Zhao pick was gonna work out. He hasn't done much of anything during these early stages of the game. Sure, he's gonna be a great duelist later on, no matter what. but it's not looking like that's an opportunity that the Gamers with Attitude are going to have with how Raving Raptors is trying to just snowball this game all across the board.
Especially with the 100% kill participation going in for this jungler. Vortex is doing absolute work on this Gragas. Gonna keep repeating that over and over again until we drive the nail home that he is really what is helping out the side of Raving Raptors get this early game lead that they desperately want and make it so that the Zen Zhao never gets online.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that Glacial Shroud eventually turn into an Iceborne Gauntlet, just so he has more damage on his auto attack. Of course, the W can give you quite a bit of burst, and since he's already just popping off in this game, to put it lightly, if he wants to snowball harder, he can go for something a little bit more offensive, just to really overpower Gamers with Attitude, rather, who just don't have much resistances at the moment.
Well, it seems like it doesn't even matter if he goes to AP. He's already overwhelming them. They haven't really found a way into this game. And now in the mid lane that Chongi's getting engaged on, but that was the miscommunication from the two ultimates. They still pick that up, but in the top lane, we saw the ultimatum laid down by Gruntless Gary as Rebenold is there in time to try to see if they can turn around, get the kill with that sweep coming in. So Rebenold does get himself something on the board.
Well, sure you get a kill, but it's not a shutdown, and watch your mid lane turret. Watch this go down fast. It's a Ziggs. We've been seeing a lot of this out of the AD carry position, getting turrets at 8, 9, 10 minutes in the game, which is just absolutely absurd, and they're going to TP to try and fight this one after the turret goes down.
Yeah, Rebenold does go in. The exhaust is used. They get the kill. Donut Dominator picking that one up. In the back lane, we see Please No Ganks trying to see if he can get in. He wants to get that depth charge onto someone, but he does not have that available. Used that earlier in the top lane kill. Now we see Mechanics just poking at that Nautilus with Donut Dominator in the back line. Not even afraid of Nautilus.
It just feels like Rebenold is on his own planet in this game. Like when he went in for the engage in the bottom lane, 1v3 underneath his own turret, when he goes in there way before Please No Ganks gets there, because you have no HP right now on this Xin Zhao, no resistances whatsoever, so there's no reason to actually force it right then and there. Wait for Please No Ganks to get into the area so he can start off the fight, so he can soak up the majority of the damage and crowd control right off the bat. Instead, he just goes in to gift another kill over the Raving Raptors.
And that can be related to a lot of players that have that puncher kind of style. As we use the Vortex, finding out Chunky and Rebenold getting hit right back in. He comes to tail in from Gruntless Gary, trying to keep going in for the fight. That is the fissure used on the Vortex.
Oh my god!
Cancelled, but that is a great Mega Inferno Bomb getting the double kill for Donut Dominator.
Absolutely absurd damage on this Ziggs with the flat penetration of the Haunting guys, and now they're just trying to force Wings, force Asu away from this bottom lane. Look at the gold lead, 8,000 at 17 minutes, and it is showing no signs of slowing down here for RVR.
Not at all. And Gruntless Gary, while his teleport was canceled by that of Please No Ganks, it really didn't help out at all because, honestly, Donut Dominator, even though he wasn't nearby the fight, just that semi-global ultimate coming in from that Mega Inferno Bomb did so much work for the team. The double kill, the damage, as well as you mentioned the Sork boots and that Magic Pen coming in, just doing so much work.
Absolutely. Now they're even going to pick themselves up an Ocean Drake just to make sure they can toss out the poke for as long as humanly possible. Underneath turrets, when you've got all of this, check out the top lane though.
Whoa.
He's out.
The hook shot actually came through even with the depth charge.
It's the interaction I was talking about a couple of games ago. Very similar to Nautilus. If he lands the dredge line on a wall, there is nothing that will stop him from going to the wall. It's the same thing with the first part of the hook shot. If she lands her E onto the wall, she's gonna go there. Only the second cast can be interrupted.
So that's very interesting. Now we see Wings getting caught out. He's just gonna be cannon fodder as he goes down again. And it seems very likely that there's nothing the side of Gamers with Attitude can do to come back into this game.
It is tough, and if it is going to happen, it is a long road ahead for these guys when you're dealing with the siege potential of a Ziggs, of the poke coming in for both him and an Ezreal, and you have minimalistic wave clear. Using that was pretty much it, and now Asu's trapped under the tower.
Yeah, look at that. Vortex just going to zone him away.
Ouch.
That's the explosive casket. They get the kill. Gruntless Gary going to be engaged on in the top lane, taking so much damage. We do see Revenald getting himself a second kill, but with this tier 2 being pressured in the bot lane by the side of Raving Raptors, I think they're happy with trading Gruntless Gary for that tower.
Exactly, and they're going to get more damage, potentially even secure themselves this turret. You see Mechanics actually tossing out his W and then jumping into it, so he gets the attack speed boost for himself, and now we have fighting in the mid lane.
Yeah, we see Donut Dominator taking a lot of damage. Great exhaust. They get the kill on to that Syndra. Now Revenald, he'll pick up that kill onto Donut Dominator, but he should drop. Vortex is going to get that.
Vortex!
That is it. He stopped for a second. Very weird interaction, but he does get the kill in the end.
Absolutely, this guy's popping off. Still 100% kill participation. 5, 0, and 10. Absolutely absurd. One more fight.
Yeah, Dredge line was blocked actually by Vortex. Now Dexter going to get hit up by that depth charge. He's going to be left out to dry as Please No Ganks picks himself up the first kill for his.
Yeah, himself. I mean, Vortex is sacrificing his support right there. He's got to keep the perfect KDA. Look as good, look as fly as he possibly can in this one right here, because right now he is a force to be reckoned with, and he has 1,800 gold in his pocket. I almost want to see him just build something completely absurd and maybe even get some damage to style on these kids.
Well, he does have the Iceborne Gauntlet as well as the Luden's Echo, but for the team, I'm going to assume that he'll go for more of that tanky route. Definitely wants to help out the team, and even though they could possibly end the game earlier, they don't want to risk anything.
Yeah, Baron is live. 10,000 gold in the lead. They don't have a Mountain Drake per se, like we've been seeing a lot during this entire day, allowing teams to really get the snowball in effect. But if they're able just to pick off Rebenold post 20 minutes, it's very, very likely that they can simply rotate into that objective. And even if GWA try to fight them, they're going to lose.
Well, they're going to try to catch out, please.
Oh,
He
man.
doesn't connect that dredge line onto that fallen tower. They have a lot of damage coming on their side. Here comes the ultimatum as well as a redemption to keep them healed. The redemption actually picks up the kill onto Please No Ganks. Now Revenald trying to run away using that sweep to get himself to safety, but that is going to be the shield boost coming in from the side of Dexter as Revenald tries to turn it around, but Gruntless Gary getting himself the kill. The flash coming in from Donut Dominator as he was engaged on by Chungi.
Yeah, now it's a pretty easy call to just go over to this Baron if they had more HP, if they had an AD carry, because right now, Donut Dominator, he has to recall, and Mechanics still split pushing down in that bottom lane. Maybe even it's possible for GWA to regain some gold, to secure themselves a turret, but even that is incredibly unlikely here, because they've never been able to hit this one before this push.
Yeah, and look at that. They're down 10,000 gold. Not even just a small difference between the team at 22 minutes into the game. We see that Dexter and Gruntless Gary able to zone off the rest of gamers with attitude, so they could not get that tower at all.
Yeah, and I mean, Vortex just split pushing in the top lane tells you a little bit of the story of this game. He's absolutely massive. Looking at the gold, he's still got 2.6 in the inventory. He is one of the most fed people in this game. It's surprising to actually see Mechanics with more gold than he does, but that's just because this guy's been solo farming bot lane all game.
Yeah, but now we're going to see Mechanics fighting Revenal, trying to juke him around. He has the damage, though. With that Trinity Force, he has way more than Revenald's able to even compete with.
He's got a Trinity Force, he's got Ninja Tabby, so this Xin Zhao is actually dealing negative damage to him, and honestly, I don't doubt that he could potentially try to even 1 versus 1 this Syndra right now with how far ahead he is.
That seems to be what he's okay with doing. We see that the Chungi in the bot lane trying to see what he can do, and it's not really going to be that effective. And now the mid lane is getting pressured really heavily, and Donut Dominator able to get that with that tower.
Oh my!
Here comes the explosive cast on to Asu, as well as that Mega Inferno Bomb, going to do a lot of damage to Wings, going to zone off the rest of gamers with attitude, force all 5 members to go into the mid lane, and this is going to allow Gruntless Gary a lot of alone time in that top lane.
Yeah, just going to be split pushing in all these lanes, putting so much pressure down here onto GWA. I do have to, oh my, Revenald.
Oh, we saw Revenald going in really hard.
That was an ulti to zone them off the tower.
He has to. What else do they have? They have no options left. They have to try anything as they are down now. 13,000 gold, 24 minutes into the game. They not only have to make one last fight, but they have to hope that somehow Raving Raptors make a massive mistake that does not seem too likely.
Not at all. Now that we've got inhibitor turrets falling with no contest from the side of GWA. It is worth pointing out that Vortex no longer holds 100% KP. See a 1v1 in from the 80 carries.
Yeah, we have Mechanics trying to fight Asu, but the flash coming in, the heals for both sides.
Ayo!
The minions are helping out Asu, but not going to pick that up. Redemption going to try to... Wings and Revenant, the flash coming in from Mechanics, but now Vortex able to show up, keeps Mechanics from getting engaged on further.
The terrifying thing is, you look at it, it's like, oh my god, the 1v1 was almost close. Wait.
Yeah, but now Revenant goes way too far in. Wings having to use that fissure really defensively. He takes so much damage that True Shot Barrage not going to hit True. One more hit onto Wings will do it, and they're going to be able to pick that up for Vortex. And now we see Mechanics going far onto Chungi. Every single lane is falling. These inhibitors are going to go down, and Mechanics is backing for style points with all that gold he has accrued for himself.
Yeah, they don't quite have the minions capable to end this game right here now, but they can easily try for 2 towers and maybe even a couple of kills, because every time GWA stand up to try and hold on to their towers, their inhibitors, they die.
Yeah. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. As we see that second inhibitor going down, the last inhibitor tower in the top lane has fallen, with Gruntless Gary leading the last of those little minions into the base. They are going to fall back on the side of Raving Raptors. Wait for Mechanics to show up.
No, they're not.
Picked up a Luden's Echo.
Why the hell not, Magic? Why not? Luden's Echo Ezreal, you're this far ahead, it doesn't even matter. No one else is recalling from their team. They are sitting on so much gold in their pockets, but that just goes to show how far ahead they are. Almost 20,000 GG.
Oh, Ravenel getting cut out. That's going to be the last fight for the side of
Oh!
They do lose Mechanics. Great use of that Unleashed power, but it doesn't matter as we have the ultimatum in the backline looking to try to see if they can chunk down Wings or Chungi. Now Vortex actually going to get shut down, finally losing his life, and that might have been too over-aggressive of a fight coming in from the side of Raving Raptors.
Oh no, the throws! Wait, they still have 3 inhibitors. There's still an Infernal Drake. There's a Baron up. And now they get to go purchase probably an entire complete item. That's how much gold was actually in the bank for them right now. And after seeing that it is possible for them to throw a fight and actually lose one, they are easily going to be able to regroup, pick up those neutral objectives, and close this one out. They honestly don't even have to fight. With 3 inhibitors down plus Baron buff, you can just escort the minions in and watch them do all the work.
Exactly. It makes it really easy. Doubled up super minions in every single lane. Get that free Infernal. Why the hell not? Maybe even pick yourself up a Baron just for the style points, just for the secure win. We'll see exactly how Raving Raptors do approach this as, yep, they're going to go for that Infernal, and then 27 minutes in, they really have the map to themselves and every single advantage in their pocket.
I mean, the issue is, as Wings maybe gets caught out, but the issue is that Nautilus can't solo clear 6 super minions every 30 seconds inside of his base, and he's the only one with a teleport. So if GWA are going to stop Raving Raptors from getting a Baron, they're going to likely lose 1 or probably even 2 Nexus turrets, but these guys are just running straight down mid lane, and Rebenold is actually on a flank behind them.
Yeah, he was backing, but decided to cancel that. He wants to see if he can get on to someone like Mechanics or Jonah Dominator, but he has to be really careful as the minions are pouring in. They're going to help out a lot for the side of Raving Raptors. Here comes the last fight. Vortex getting hit up by that depth charge. We saw his Mechanics still alive. The Redemption's going to keep the side of Raving Raptors alive as Revenant does fall, losing his life. They get the kill onto Lucian. Wing's going to be the next one. There goes Please No Ganks. The only one surviving is Chungi. He's going to get hit up by Vortex. They're going to try to get that last style kill onto this Syndra for either Mechanics or for Vortex.
Oh, Vortex!
Vortex dies, and Please No Ganks is the one who picks that up because somehow the Syndra never did any damage to that Vortex. But Raving Raptors Raving Raptors able to take this win 28 minutes into the game.
I mean, Raving Raptors just took GWA to class right there. Just clinical on all angles, other than maybe the one misstep inside their own base. But that was a win from all angles possible right there. There was really not any moment in this game where GWA had a distinct advantage. And you gotta wonder, what was this Xin Zhao pick actually supposed to do? It wasn't even that it got set behind, it was just that Vortex was so much more active during the early stages of the game. Rebenold could never actually get a gank off himself, and his lane slowly lost because of all the pressure of this jungle Gragas.
Yeah, and that's pretty much the story of the game, is just Vortex on that jungle Gragas looked a lot cleaner than we saw coming out from Rebenold. And I feel like that is going to be the story here coming into the games, is not only do you have to make sure you pick something that's a little bit more meta, but you have to make sure that you don't fall behind against your opponent. If they pick something meta and you pick something a little off, you have to know that your laners are going to be safe against something that's very aggressive like a Gragas. But with that, we are going to have to call it a day. That is going to be our final game here at the Go&Fun Esports Championships. Guys, thank you so much for joining in. I'm Alex, Magical Voice, joined in by my excellent co-caster here, Ender L. Make sure to follow him at EnderCasts if you want to see more of what he does, or if you want to see more of myself, you can follow me at Magical Voice _. But before we go, Ender L, would you like to say anything to the audience we have remaining?
Goodbye.
Well, that's going to be it. So, guys, we'll see you next week on Monday, so come back then.